Okay, what's going on, guys, and welcome to a brand new episode of Energized. Ross, introduce the guest, man.
We have Ireland's most handsome and Mayfire. He's going to hate that. But we do. We have Dean, the sniper, Barry. Dean, how are you doing?
I'm doing fantastic, lads. Been on cloud nine the last week, so yeah, it's been amazing. It's great getting to meet all you and talk with all of you, so it's part of it, yeah.
Dean, before we go any further, I have to say congratulations on becoming a father. Being a father myself, it's one of the greatest feelings you'll ever have in your entire life. Well, what was it like becoming a father during COVID-19 times? Like, what was it like going into Jace for the first time and that?
It was nuts because you couldn't actually go in for the birth and stuff like that. Obviously, I'm not with the mother, so we're just friends, you know. So I couldn't go in for the birth. Her mum was there with her just for support, you know. But then I had to wait till Jace got out of the hospital, so I had to wait 3 days to see him. And I've seen little videos of him, and I'm talking, and he's just staring up at me, and like it's just this love you never thought existed, you know. It's crazy, and it took. To be honest with you, I'm so blessed and grateful and thankful I got into the UFC, but I'm still trying to like feel that like, oh, I'm in the UFC. I can't believe it, but I'm just so in love with my son that I haven't gave a fuck yet, to be honest with you. I'm just like, yeah. But look, it has its bonuses with it.
And did you feel that COVID like almost robbed those 3 days from you? You know what I mean? Like, because it's such a special moment, you know what I mean? When you first see your son. And what was that first moment like when you did get to see him?
The COVID, it stopped me going to some appointments now that I kind of wanted to be at, and you know, so what happened with Jace was he was due the 3rd of November, but she went for a checkup and he hadn't gained weight in 4 weeks, which was very, very bad. He was like 5 pounds 6 or something. So they were very worried about him. So they induced her there and then, and she had to deliver the baby within 24 hours. So I kind of had my expectations of being a dad in 2 weeks, and then overnight I was like, and can you imagine the anxiety of that? And like you're like, oh my god. And then I got the call for the UFC, and then I'm just like, I felt like I drank 40 Red Bulls or something, and I was just like, I couldn't process it. But when I seen him, I have the video there, like when I seen him, I ran into the kitchen, like I seen him in there, and I went into the kitchen. I was having a bit of a panic attack. I was like, oh, I can't do this. Like, what the fuck? He just looks like a little me. It's weird, man. And then I went in and I just broke down when I held him. Like, you're a father yourself, man. Like, just tears of happiness because I waited 9 months to hold my son. I've always wanted to be a dad, and I just felt so grateful. And I was real sad, like crying with happiness, because I felt like I was so worried all year. Like, how am I going to provide for my son? How am I going to be this good dad? And the only thing I was ever good at is fighting, you know. So then that came, and it was just like God was watching over me, you know. It was just so blessed, man. It's great.
Ross,
that's an incredible story.
Ross, obviously doing the show and then meeting so many fighters, they all have such amazing backstories. And that's not even bullshit. Like, I mean, look at this, for instance. And then, like, everyone's literally fighting for their lives and their family. And then, like a story like that to just happen to Dean, like, and obviously we're following Dean. To see that is just, it's unbelievable, isn't it?
It's incredible because I
was asking Ross about you. Like,
oh, sorry.
No, go on, Dino.
Yeah, go on, Dino.
Oh, I thought you said, isn't it Dean? That's what I was yeah. No, I was just saying, like, it was such a nice feeling, bro, because after UAE Warriors, I left the cage and I got a phone call. I'd only left the fucking cage, and my manager was hockeying my phone over, ringing me and all. He was like, you might be staying over for Fight Island, like Sean Shelby loves you, like they want to take you, blah blah blah. And I was like, oh, and I just was so overwhelmed by it, and like that fight kind of meant everything to me. It was all or nothing, really. Do you know what I mean? Like, and I was going over there with the worry of me kid, and like, how am I gonna survive with this? Like, do I go back to work full time again? What do I do? And it was just like, it worked out in the end, and it's just a relief. Do you know what I mean?
Oh, that's like so much a process as well, isn't it? Like, jeez.
Yeah, I think it's, you know, probably one of the greatest moments of your life, because I was only talking to my miss last night, and I was actually saying to her, I was like, when we have a second kid, I'm actually afraid that, like, I won't feel that love for the first one. Yeah. You know what I mean? And like, it's a scary thing or whatever. And then,
what do you mean? You'll just pass it on. You'd be like,
as in when like Theo was born, like, and how much I loved him, I was like, it was something you never felt before, right? And then I was like, I don't know if that emotion would actually come back for a second one, but like obviously it does. You know what I mean? Obviously, like most people love all the kids the same, except my ma like loves me the least. But like that's my own issue, you know.
After me.
Yeah, it goes. Jake, Chris, Baz, me. Maybe my dog Pete comes ahead of me as well. You know.
Are you brothers?
No, we just have matching mustaches. Like we're not brothers. No,
we're not. But Baz is very much part of my family. He comes to like all my family events. So like it's real. Like put it this way: if I was having a family birthday, like I'm like, Baz is coming. It's just one of those things, you know.
I sit at the kids' table with the kids.
Like Beavis and Butthead, really.
Yeah, exactly. Dumb and Dumber more so. But Dean, obviously, like this has been an absolute whirlwind for you, like recently. But like, we have to like bring it back to the start, right? Because this is very, very interesting. You're the first Irish UFC fighter to get in a long, long time. Obviously, Reese is there as well now, but like you've been all over the place. So like, Dean, we have to start off. Where and how did you start mixed martial arts?
How did I start MMA? Like, it was just towards the end of my kickboxing career. I was just fed up, like not in like an arrogant way, but I was fed up of going to the same tournaments, and you know, I'd spend my own money. I'd spend thousands getting there, and I'd win the same thing, and I just got nothing out of it, and I'd come home just broke, and I was like, what am I doing? Like, I was like, I'm 25 now, like what do I do with my life? Like I knew I was always very good at fighting, and can I do that? Can I make money from it? And then I followed Conor McGregor for a while. Like I was seeing what he did for Irish MMA, and like I was like, like if you know Conor broke through for the Irish guys, like he gave us hope in a way. Do you know what I mean? I felt like I really looked up to Conor and his story and stuff like that. So I kind of,
and especially the way, if people don't know, your head coach is actually Owen Roddy, Conor McGregor's striking coach as well. So.
Yeah. Exactly, but at the time he wasn't now, because I was going to Canada anyway in 2017. And I was like, I'm going to give this MMA a bash. And I was like, I'm just going to go pro. I don't want to do amateur or anything, because I want to make some money and try help my family and stuff like that. And just that kind of way. Like, but I went to TriStar when I was in Canada, and like I never had a full contact experience in my life. I came from points fighting, so I was just touch and stop. I never had jiu-jitsu, wrestling, nothing, like no boxing or anything like that. And I just went in and threw myself in the deep end, bro, and fake it till you make it, really. And that kind of way, you know. I had to, because when I got there, like Faraz asked me, did I have any like jiu-jitsu and all that, and Faraz the Happy did, and I said yeah, of course, and didn't have a clue, bro. And I remember I jumped into the advanced class straight away, and I just remember looking at a guy.
It's such a typical Irish thing to do. It's like, have you ever done that before? Like, yeah, obviously.
Yeah.
Around the ground.
That's what I was like, bro. He was like, did you ever do jiu-jitsu before? And I was like, yeah. Because I was like, don't throw me out. Like, I don't want to get the train back to the house. Like, I was like, yeah. And then I did it. And I remember there was a guy called Rob there, and he's been in my corner as well for a while. But I remember looking at him and just saying, like, I was like, please help me, like, right now. I was like, I'm going to get thrown out of here, because I didn't know what I was doing, bro. I just hold on to somebody and just, like, for dear life. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
So I just kind of picked it up from there, and then he asked me to do the pro sparring. No, sorry, he asked me to do the sparring class later on that night. I did the sparring, and I was sparring with all the UFC guys and all there. And leveling.
Who would you have been sparring there?
Like, I was sparring with Eamon Sahabi, Joe Duffy, Arnold. I moved around with Arnold Allen a bit, and then they have loads of Bellator guys as well. And then I was working. I eventually started training a lot with George St. Pierre and stuff, and doing his striking with him and stuff. But Faraz invited me to the pro class, and then I just learned. But I got better around the place for a while. It was, the level of MMA is just crazy over there, and I came from a sport where it was just 2-minute rounds. So, you know, it's okay for me just to tip tap for a minute, think I'm great, and then the boys just went like boom straight through me after the minute, and I just picked it up pretty quick, bro. I kind of feel like it's like that saying, like, if you throw yourself in the deep end, you have to learn to swim, and that's kind of how I did it. And I think that kind of helped me pick MMA up pretty quick, and then took a pro fight a few weeks later. And
but why did you pick TriStar of all places?
I was going traveling in Canada, so it was no like thing where I was like, oh, this is where I need to be. Just went traveling. I had a friend, Sam, from Canada. He he's a head coach for the Canadian kickboxing team. He trained George, and he put me in touch with George, and George came up to me in TriStar and said, I'm going to train with you. And at the time I didn't know who he was. Like because I didn't really know anyone in MMA, and I was like, I knew he was big, but not to like. He's like Conor over there, man. Like anytime I ever went out with him for something to eat, like he can't go anywhere. He gets.
You'd be the cameraman.
Yeah, I'd be like in the corner, you know. But he's a gent, bro. He's amazing, and
he's my favorite fighter, Dino. I
Yeah.
love him. Like we went over to New York to see him beat Bisping at UFC 217, and man, it was epic. You know what I mean? It just he like embodies what it is to mix.
And how funny is that? How funny is that I did his striking? I did his striking for that camp.
I know, yeah.
It's crazy, but and you know what I love about George? Like everyone loves him as a martial artist, but he's that man in real life. Like, see, when it's just two of you,
yeah.
Like I hadn't got a penny. I had no money over there. I was just living from food to food. Like he gave me clothes. Took me out for dinner all the time. He always checked on me. Like he was just like, he was like a big brother over there. And that's the sort of like role model I look up to. That's the sort of man I want to be like. I want to be just a humble, respectful athlete. That's just a great fighter and that's a good person. Do you know what I mean? So looking at him kind of made me go that route, you know?
Yeah, well, it's a nice fella to look up to, the GOAT. And like in my opinion, I just think he is the GOAT. He is just
he's amazing. He can do it. He can do it all. Yeah.
Yeah, I was like that fella could have went to the Olympics and did a bit of wrestling as well. He was that good at everything. He's
man, insane. And do you know what? One thing about him, like, it was his schedule that kind of like was crazy for me. Like that fella he'd go to TriStar and he'd teach 2 hours. To say on a Monday, for example, he'd teach a 2 hour wrestling class. Then he'd do the rounds at the end. Then he'd go in, get a shower, and then I would go with him for something to eat, and then straight to the Olympic swimming stadium, and we do a big swimming program straight away. Then, and which was absolute hell, right? Then I would get the metro home. He would go from there for something to eat, and then go to gymnastics, or he'd go to the Olympic wrestling classes, or go to his gym and try. Like he's what he is, what he says he is. He lives the life of a martial artist, even when he's not fighting.
And did you run into Rory McDonald over there? Because I always thought Rory McDonald was almost like the new, like he started a trend for the next wave, as in like he grew up doing MMA.
A lot. I seen Rory a lot. I seen it, like I was there. I never got to spar with Rory now because when I was there I was very green. Like I didn't have the other guys, the UFC guys sparred with me. Like, you know, they gave me like, you know, the respect and moved around me and stuff. But I was never at the caliber to spar with Rory, obviously, because he's a lot bigger than me and he was in there with real proper lads, like big guys and stuff. So, but he was a lovely fella. Like I spoke with him a lot, and I got to train Vitor Belfort over there as well. When he came to visit, I was doing a lot of kicks with him and stuff. And it's nice. There's a whole wave of people coming in and out, and you get to meet new friends and stuff like that. So.
And then tell me about Firas Zahabi. Like that's absolutely incredible. He's sort of known as one of the best trainers in MMA, full stop. And then also, did you get to train with John Danaher over there? Because obviously GSP and him are very into jiu-jitsu.
Once John was there, I didn't know now, but he was doing drills when we were in GSP's gym. Like he was there, we were doing jiu-jitsu drills and all, but I didn't really get to spend a lot of time with him. But at the time I had no idea who he was, and I knew of Firas and how good Firas was, and he's an amazing coach as well, and he's a very good striker as well. So as well as he is jiu-jitsu. But yeah, there's a whole array of fighters there. But after I fought in September, like I got a quick win, and then I flew straight home because me and my family were all going to Lanzarote, like all my granny, granddad and cousins and all. We went for a little breakaway, and then I didn't do anything from September till the following February when I met Owen. So I just kind of went to the gym and did like running and stuff like that. So I kind of had a 6-month hiatus. Met Owen, and Owen took my career to where it is now, and I wouldn't be where I am without him. So yeah, well, great thing.
So Dean, after you, so you were in Canada for roughly how long? 4 or 5 months?
No, I got there in the very kind of basically the start of June, like end of May, start of June, and then I trained for a month, and then I went back to Ireland for July. And I came back and trained for like a month in August, and then I took a pro fight in September. So
yeah,
fuck all.
About 3 months total, but like
3 months, yeah,
jam packed.
Yeah,
and then,
I just dived in.
And then Dino, I saw you went to Rufus Sport as well. How long were you there for?
So what happened was I went over to Rufus Sport. I had Rufus Sport booked before I kind of met Owen, because I had a fight for Obama, and my manager.
We were actually at that.
Oh, were you?
Yeah,
Yeah.
Ross, remember that? We were actually talking. I remember you were going in to fight Pretty Boy, and then Ross was saying that you were with TriStar when for that fight. Remember that? I think that was our first event we got credentialed for, Ross.
Yeah, it was actually, yeah.
Oh, really?
No. Was that Bama tour or was that just Bama? No, that was Bama.
It was just Bama.
Was it? It wasn't the same night as Bellator, wasn't it?
No, just Bama.
Oh, okay.
2018.
Yeah, then I think it was Ross. Then I think that
Yeah,
was actually
first night we got media credentials for.
Yeah.
That was that night.
Yeah.
Higher up, yeah.
Yeah, man.
Nice.
You know what I mean?
Yeah, although we had cans of Monster to go in because you're watching the fights and they're for hours, and they took them off us on the way in. I was like, oh, skip that.
But
see, with them saying when I went out to fight him and they said I represented TriStar, like them at the time, like I just met Owen and it was, I didn't know what I was doing really with my life or anything, like in our career or stuff. And then they mentioned I was representing TriStar, and Owen didn't really like that though. He was like, you're training with me at SPG Charlestown. And I was like, I didn't tell them to say that, they said it, but I kind of found me home with Owen. But before the Pretty Boy fight, I was scheduled to fight someone. I can't remember who he was.
Patrick White.
Yeah, I was meant to fight him and just kind of get myself into momentum, because still I had only a couple of months MMA ever. By the time I went back to Ireland and time I met Owen, when I was getting ready for Bama, I got a bad concussion in the gym. Like I remember I slipped and someone went to leg kick me without a shin guard and they kicked me clean in the mouth. Like I slipped into the splits and then I was vomiting green and all, bro. Like I was in a bad way. Like, and then I couldn't spar or do nothing like that, and I started recovering from it. Then I ended up splitting my whole face open and I couldn't do no drills or nothing. So I was kind of just going up on a Tuesday and Thursday to Owen's gym and just hitting a bit of pads and stuff. But that fight fell through, and they offered me some guy in England. He was like a boxer or something. He was like a pro boxer. He was 1-0 or something. So
wasn't KSI, was it?
Nah, no. I would have got a lot more money, but so I said yeah for him, and then like it was like 2 weeks out. I think it was 2 weeks out with Pretty Boy. Like I came to the gym and I was like, oh, by the way, you're not fighting that guy, you're fighting Anthony Taylor, and the other guy pulled out. And I just said yeah, okay, because I always say yeah no matter who someone offers me, because I'm very, very confident in myself. Do you know what I mean?
You have to be like that if you want to be a
champ. I don't give a shit. Like I'll say yes to anyone. Like, but
Francis Ngannou.
Yeah. Yeah, on Fight Island, no bother.
Well, enjoy your Christmas then,
Yeah, exactly. I'm gonna pig out, but I took that fight. And maybe I shouldn't have took that fight because I was so new to MMA. But to be honest, I learned a lot from it, and I got to showcase like a bit of what I can do in that cage and how quick and how skillful I am. Like I outclassed a lot of the strikers that night, and it was just when he took me down, I didn't even know what I was doing. That's the God honest truth. And then after that, I learned and I trained in jiu-jitsu, and now I've actually got like I hold my own against purple and blue belts. I submit purple belts in the gym, blue belts and all. Like I've got a very good ground game now. So,
and you got the front row seat to his walkout, which is always epic.
I was like, man, this fella's a bleeding weirdo. Like even when we went and interviewed in RTA, I think it was, and I met him outside, and I was all ready, I was like, oh right, this is gonna be a bit beef and all. And he's like, yo man, and he's like, so this is what's gonna happen. He's like, you go in, then I'm gonna burst through the door, and I'm gonna shit talk you, and I want you to be like, ooh, and I was like, it was like this weird role play, and I'm real nice like that. Like I just be like, yeah, like I'm not into shit talking. You don't need to shit talk someone to fight them. I don't know the man personally, so I wouldn't say I'm bad about him, but. It was real weird. It was, and I was, and then two of us sitting there chilling after it and all. But he's a nice fella, and I'm so happy to see that man come back from a bad position. Like he was going through a bad spot in his life, and he came back. And I love to see the fact that he's on a 5-fight win streak since he fought me. Like I'm over the moon for him,
He's doing great in Ireland as well, isn't he? He won't get off the Bellator cards in Ireland.
No,
and the walkouts get more extravagant, like.
Yeah, man, he's fun, and that man just loves to fight, and he doesn't care. Like the fella's calling out, he calls out John Jones and all, so just leave him to it,
Yeah. Dean, can we do you have anything else to follow up on that, Ross, or can we go back to?
No. By go ahead.
All right. So, like, obviously, you came back, and then you got put in touch, or you got in touch with Owen Roddy. How did that come about? And why did you decide to go to SPG Charlestown? Because obviously, like, John has the monster, and then like obviously Paddy's doing his thing, and then even Team KF are like running them up these days. What brought you to Owen, and why did you decide to go with SPG Charlestown?
So it was Ryan. It was Ryan Curtis that me and Ryan used to follow each other for years on Facebook, and I used to always be like, "Oh, look at this mad thing doing MMA." Like I'd be like, "Fair play to him in the cage," years ago. And then he would always, like comment on me videos from kickboxing saying, "Oh yeah, deadly kicks, good sweeps. I think you'll be good in MMA." Then he said to me, "Look, have you got nowhere to train?" I kind of reached out to him.
Yeah.
I was like, "I don't have a gym," and I wanted to just do something different, man. And I was fascinated with Owen's kind of the way he was on pads with Connor and all. I'd be like, I knew he had his own gym, so I knew it was a much smaller gym. So I knew, like, you don't necessarily have to go to the biggest gym in the world to become the best fighter. Smaller gym, more time to myself with the coach, more like less people, just a smaller circle, and that's just the way I have been my whole life. And
is that where you thrive?
I like that. Like I believe you don't have to. It doesn't matter where you are in life. It doesn't matter what gym you're from. If you have the right work ethic and right goal and approach to your training, and you have the right little small amount of people around you, like your limits are endless. Do you know what I mean? Like it doesn't matter where you are in life, or where you're from, or what gym you're in. It's all about you and your approach to it, how you see,
And the gym there itself is doing very, very well these days. I think they've quite a good few guys coming up on Clan Wars coming up as well.
Yeah.
And look, Owen Roddy's work speaks for itself. You know what I mean? So I think we will see a lot of future top fighters coming out of SPG Charlestown. Someone like J.R. Harrison, very interesting how he gets on. He looks very good.
He's an animal. Like he hits like that fella hits you like a welterweight. Like it's good. The good thing about the gym is there's just such there's such a good variety of fighters from the gym. Like the guys coming up, like we have Sean. Sean's one of my main training partners, Sean McConnell. Sean's kind of similar to my fighting style and very good awareness on the ground and in the wrestling as well. He's got a beautiful striking. Then you have Carl Reardon. He's a light heavyweight. He's just an animal. Like that fella is one of the cleanest boxing I've seen. Great on the ground as well. And then Hugo is also fighting his pro debut for a title, and he's a beast, man. I don't think, like, even ask Owen, like Owen will be looking at him in the gym when he's on the ground going like, what is that? Like he's just sensational. So it's great range of fighters there and that are fighting this week as well. And then we've got Sarah.
Sarah Elliott Sheridan, she's fighting as well.
She is a beast. She's one thing I say about Sarah is like she's always in the gym and she grows. She's improving at a rapid rate, and she's a girl that I reckon is gonna. And I mean that when I say that about her. I think she's gonna break out as one of the best females to come out of Ireland. Like wait and you see how rapid she's after progressing in this fight. Very good.
No, we've been following her for a while, and like she's already amassed a huge audience as well. And then training with the likes of Leah as well. There's like no one better to look up to, So that's I mean that's what I love about this sport. Just people like everyone's on their own journeys, and they're all just trying to get to the top. And at the end of the day, be able to afford food and lighting and heating, So
that's it, buddy. And the most important thing is just support. Yes, be supportive. You need to be supportive for everybody, and like I want to see every single Irish person do well. Not from my team, from all over the country. I always support them. I always watch them, but I am focused on myself, and I always have been. I don't let anyone distract me or talk shit to me or talk me down, and I just focus on my goals and what I can control, and that's just getting better and being different and trying to bring something new to MMA. And I think my fighting style is very different to
it's very different. Like, from watching your last fight there, it was very like Wonder Boy-esque, wasn't it, Ross?
Yeah, it really, really was. I was actually going to say, did you ever get a chance to meet Wonder Boy or spar him? Because we met him in Cork, which is so fucking random, and we interviewed him. When you say you met Wonder Boy in Cork, it does sound random. But like, there's very much, No,
we interviewed him at the fight convention.
Yeah,
we weren't just walking around like.
It just sounds weird, doesn't it? I met him in Cork.
We're at a hurling game.
just like the karate style and the points. I think going back when you look at karate styles, like Lyoto Machida sort of broadly into MMA and like he was the first like karate champion. But then when you see people like Wonder Boy and like yourself, you can see like it's been adapted to an MMA style, if that makes sense.
Yeah, exactly.
It's very exciting to watch as well.
Because the one thing about that style is like when I first came into MMA, I said, I'm not going to change. I'm not going to become a grappler. I'm not going to clinch. I'm going to be, because I was a world number one at my style. And I think you have to play to your strengths. I was a world number one in sport karate. I need to adjust that to MMA. And look, it took me almost 2 years to click it. Like, and so if anyone's ever worrying about that, like, you need to be patient with it. Like, I couldn't position my feet the right way. I didn't know how to box. Had to learn how to box for MMA and learn how to flow, to wrestle, and put it all together. But I think I've put it together nicely now. And once you do that, your awareness inside the cage is second to none with it, you know. So I wanted to show that style works. Like, look at me, Wonder Boy, Michael Page,
MVP,
Raymond Daniels. We have that style, and it's very rare, and that's why I know a lot of people are like, "Oh, why did you get signed? You're 3-1." Like, they called me. Like, people are like, do people think I rang them up and said, "Here, sign me, I'm 3-1," like over all these other fighters? They called me, and I'm not gonna say no. You know, like, I'm gonna take the opportunity, and I'm gonna go
that's
fight
the dream.
out. Like,
What do you think you were going to do? Bring out the A4 pad and be like, "These boys have better records than me. Maybe you should call."
It's all about selling yourself as well.
Yeah, and there you go with selling yourself. Like, look, you know me from following me. Like, I just keep to myself and quiet, respectful of anyone. But like, I don't get into any of that shit. But I don't care if someone obviously talks trash to me. It doesn't make a difference, because I turn up when it's time to fight. I switch on, and I know how to find that switch inside the cage. I'm very accurate, so I don't care about.
Dean, how long were you number one in Sport Karate, and also, like, how did that feel to know you're the best of the best?
I went when I was a junior. I went on a streak where I was world European champion. I was winning I won the World Cup, Irish Show. I won everything. And then when I switched into the seniors, I done the exact same thing as a senior. I won it all. Went over to the States, beating all over America. I was beating everyone, all the divisions in America as well. Like, I did lose. Like, at times I lost, like, the overalls. That would be like everyone from each weight class would fight, and I used to get to the semi-finals of that, or I'd lose to someone who was a heavier guy and stuff like that. But I'd always win my division. That was me, and the team events and stuff like that. And it felt good, man. It felt great. Like, it was kind of like, when you're good at something, and when you go to a tournament, people are there to watch you, and you're about to, like, throw some spinning sweeps, and you're gonna, like, when you have a platform like that, you also need to take risks. You need to go out, and you need to put on a bit of a platform. Otherwise, no one's gonna really know you. Like, so if I'm going out spinning sweep and people are on, like, crazy head kicks and stuff, people are gonna want to watch me. But if I go out and just do the basic stuff, like, people, he's the same as everyone else. That's just the way I look at it, and that's just me,
Yeah. Do you have any brothers or sisters as well?
I've 3 brothers.
3 brothers, and did they all do kickboxing as well?
Yeah, they were all point fighters. They were.
Were you the youngest?
No, my brother Shane's 29, Luke's 20. Shane, how old is Luke?
40.
That's so bad. How old is he? 26. 26, and Marty's 24. And we all fought, and they were all, like, they all won, like, the Europeans, Worlds, like, massive tournaments around the world. So they were all brilliant, and they were the exact same as me. Like, we're all at the same level, and we're a very well-known family in MMA.
Yeah,
in MMA.
Yeah, so it's bred into you. That's cool. That's cool.
And in talent, don't forget. Don't mess with the Barrys.
Don't mess with the Barrys,
No one calls your gaff on Halloween for free food, like, or else they get a holiday.
I'm telling you, to get a sidekick when they open the door.
Out the letterbox. But if you're enjoying the show, make sure to like and subscribe, and also give Dean a follow as well. But Dean, like, obviously now you've been with Owen like a while now, and then right, so we'll just quickly jump onto this for a sec, right? So you're obviously at the moment now you're 3-1.
Yeah.
Then how did the UAE call come about? Because you hadn't fought in over a year. And then, like, all of a sudden, a shout to go to United Arab Emirates. Like, were you just like, how did this happen? Or, like, tell us how that happened.
So after my fight in Tyson last year, we were approached by, like, we were in talks with UFC about, like, they just wanted to see basically another fight from me. Like, they thought they could do a lot with me, blah blah blah. So I was actually scheduled to fight that August last year against a guy who was just released from the UFC. I was meant to fight him on Titan. I think he was Capos or something. Quinones. He fought Stage Norco beat him.
Okay, yeah.
Well, I was supposed to fight him. My manager rang me, said, I have a juicy fight here for you. Do you want it? And I said, absolutely. getting ready for that fight, and then just circumstances happened at home for myself that I had to withdraw from that fight, and then I got ready for. There was I think there was like a bout in October. We verbally agreed for a bout in October, and then that fell through. Yeah. Then December, I was scheduled to fight Bruce Mitchell in. I think he was 6-4. I was scheduled to fight him on Titan. Then I had visa issues getting to the airport. I needed a work visa and stuff, and then that was just a nightmare for me, bro. So that was basically 3 fights from then. Then next year, I was scheduled to fight in May against April, against a guy. He was 4-0. I can't remember his name, but that fell through with COVID. Then May, they postponed it to May. That fell through. I went working full time, fucking gained a load of weight, wasn't doing anything, and I got offered a fight in July on UAE Warriors, but I hadn't trained, I hadn't done anything. I said yeah, and then Owen was like, no. He's like, will you stop? Like, he's like, you know, and I wasn't ready, and I was just like, yeah.
As you're eating the pizza on the couch, yeah, no, what are you? Yeah.
I was sitting in work, texting with my phone at the desk, and I like to the manager. I'm like, absolutely, yes. And then I didn't even look at the fella, like, and then Owen texted me back. He was like, that fella has like 9 submissions in a row, and then he's like, will you cop on? Like, and I'm sitting there like all out of shape and not giving a bollocks. Like, and then I got a call in August. Do I want to take Abdullah 7-1, 6 weeks notice? And I just said yeah. So it was a good fight. He knocked out 6 people. Like, he knocked out 6 people clean, and he had 1 submission win. So he had all finishes. I moved up 10 pounds to fight him. Flew into his home territory. They had him.
That's the thing. Let us just put the picture out there. Like, obviously from following you, we saw that you were going over by yourself. Like, I was like, geez, this is mental. Like, you know what I mean? And then, like, when you were there, we were watching it on the UAE live stream. Ross, you called up from Gaffatio. And then, like at the beginning, it looked like you were on the back foot, and then all of a sudden, like as you said earlier, you went back to what brought you to the dances. You always say, Ross, like all of a sudden you started kicking him in the stomach. He was like backing up. You sort of gassed out, and you finished him.
Yeah, because when I fought him I didn't give a shit, and I even said straight away. I said to my brother and my coach at the time, I goes, when I stiff him a jab, he's gonna just try wrestle with me. Like, and this fella's a knockout artist, and I just knew, because if you watch me fight and it looks like, oh yeah, like he's so easy, like I can kick the leg off him, but when you're in there with me, I'm not what you're used to. I stand very awkwardly. I'm very, very closed. I'm very hard to hit, and people kind of panic a bit when I start faking those, you know. So I knew that was going to happen, but I actually got very sick on the Friday I was meant to fight him. My brother went down and got me, like, you know, I had to get on nasal sprays and stuff. I think it was the aircon in the room, but I was like, had shakes and all. I felt so sick, and I couldn't get going in backstage. I throw like a 1-2, had to lie down for a bit, and I felt so, I don't know what was wrong with me. I never had that feeling before. I felt like I couldn't control the nerves. I couldn't control the anxiety, and I was like panicking. I was having like little panic attacks before I walked out and all. I was freezing cold, and I was like, man, what? I'm in over my head here. And yeah, it was just an emotional year. You know, I lost my granny and all this year, and I think a mix of everything, bro. And then I was going out and all his like Arab fans and all. It was just weird. And then when
you were the pretty boy Taylor in that situation, you know.
Yeah, man, I'd come out with me kickboxer music and all, like ready to go. And
yeah, but in fairness, I'm actually not shocked. UFC came calling after that fight. They're like, handsome Irish guy who can knock people out. Where have we seen this before? Yeah, you know, and they were like, right, sign that fellow. Yeah. And again, there's even shades of like, not saying he was how you're copying him, because obviously you've done it your entire life, but like even McGregor has that karate stance at times coming into certain strikes. You know what I mean? He's adapted that style to be like, that works. You know what I mean? Yeah,
because you know what Conor does so beautifully, and I did it in that fight, because obviously we both trained with Owen, so we have that bit in us. Like I was positioning, like I hit him a shot. That's where I knew the fight was going to end. Like, because I hit him, like I leaned in and I was baiting the jab out of him. Then when he jabbed, like you don't step back, you just pull and come in. So I pulled and I cleaned him, and I remember I was just going like this, and he was running back, and I just started unloading on him. And then anytime I hit my 1-2, I never missed a single one of them. And there's only so many times you can take that before your brain is just going to say that's enough, and hit enough times and they'll go out. And then when I hit him that every time I throw a 1-2, he was doing this. he was going like that, right? So then I kind of was like, right, slow down for a second, and then I was like, right, that if I step through into southpaw off the two, he won't see the hook. So I stepped through on the southpaw, I threw a short, and I came up, and just as I seen it hit him, I was like, yes. I was like, oh. You know, so you try it. You know, when you try it and it works, and you're seeing it working in front of you, and I was like, he's this unit. He looked like a bleeding bodybuilder, and just seeing him fall, and I was like, oh, thank God.
Yeah, I had a feeling you were being fed to the lions there. That's what they probably were trying to do, and then you come out with the win with it. And like that knockout went viral as well. Like that, like I don't know. I was so proud for you for going into the lions den, everything you've been through, and then getting that. I was like, you can't really write that shit. Like, you know,
no,
you really
bro.
can't write that.
And I wouldn't mind. They were trying to feed me to the lions there because
they obviously were. This fellow was 7-1.
7-1, and it was like Pip to go to UFC and all this talks about him and all. But it was just, do you know what annoyed me? Like even on the press conference and all, they just threw me into the fucking crowd there, and I was sitting on the seat, and he's up there like a little star, and he's chatting away and like telling everyone he's gonna knock me out in the first round. I'm just and I was like, I was just sitting with you on the bus a second ago. He was real friendly with me. I was like, we were friends. Like, and
he just followed you on Instagram, did he?
No, we were friends. Like, I was chatting with him on the bus, and I was like, it's a pleasure to share the cage, blah blah. We were chatting away, and then he gets up there. He's like, gonna knock me out one round. I was like, you fuck.
Fairness, the way he did give you a present for Jace though, so like, that was nice.
He's such a lovely fella. Like, I spoke with him constantly, like, because when he saw me in the lobby the first day, he started sizing me up and all. He didn't realise how big I was, because I think he thought I was a lot smaller, because even when we face off, I'm bigger than him. Yeah. And I didn't think I was going to be as big as him, but he kind of, I think he got a little bit nervous, and then when we talked a bit and I was telling him I was going to be a dad and all, he just done something nice for me. Bro, that was nearly €300 for that Versace outfit he bought me son. Like,
whoa!
I was like, bro, that's nearly half my fight purse. But yeah, I felt terrible, man. I was like, what? I gave him my fight shorts after the fight now, and
here you go after knocking you out there.
Don't know the worst part. I gave him we were backstage in the medical room, and he's sitting there crying his eyes out, and I took off my shorts and gave him my shorts, and I was like, oh, here, take these and all. It was just really awkward. Then I was standing there in these little tiny jocks and with me groin guard on, and it was just weird experience. It was, but.
And now he's wearing them on OnlyFans.
Yeah. Yeah, but here I was getting, like, one thing I'll say about the Kuwait fans and the fans from the Middle East, like they really get behind the fighter, like, and but when I beat them, they all sent me lovely messages, and they were all like, you know, all followed me and were really kind and stuff to me. And there's this guy from Dubai. He's married to an Irish woman, like his kids and all. He's inviting me out. He invited me out when I was over there, and I was like, who the fuck? I was like, who's this fella inviting me out for coffee and all? I was like, this is a bit weird, man. And I didn't really want to deal with him. I was like, that's a bit weird, you know? He wanted me to watch
obviously
his friends. And I was like, me being Irish, I instantly thought one thing, and I was like, no. I was like, that's strange. And then we started chatting when I got back and all. His wife's Irish, and he's inviting me out after my next fight. He's saying, come out and I can stay. He has a villa in the Burj Al Arab on the beach. He owns all Mercedes and Lamborghinis and all. He's like, you and your family can stay there for as long as you want. He's like, you're a guest in here, and they're just so friendly.
I think it's their culture, isn't it? Their culture is very welcoming, and it's almost like they treat you better than they treat themselves.
You know what it is? They're so rich, they're just bored and they want to make friends.
Yeah, that's actually it. The money's no problem, so they're like, yeah, here, take the car for the day.
Take the car for the day, but like,
stay here for the year. Doesn't matter.
I would have loved to stay on longer, but I was happy. Like, I always like to just fight, and just my favorite part of fighting is just the breakfast the next day. Like, I don't go out drinking around. I love, you know, when you just have that, you know you won, and you're just chilling by your breakfast, and you're like, oh, it's done. Like, and I was just happy to get home. But I don't mind flying in and fighting like hometown fighters. Like, my 3 wins are all fighting against hometown fighters, so it doesn't bother me. Like.
Yeah, but if you don't take these chances in life, you're never going to see what happens as well. You know, that's really it.
I took a massive gamble, bro. Like, a massive gamble. And do you know what?
I know you did. We were saying that. We were like, that's such a, I don't know. Like, you could, like, obviously Cage Warriors is like back up and running. Obviously Bellator has dominated the European market. That could have just been, you could have just went on that ride, but like, you went balls deep, and now look what's after happening. I mean, like, if you're not proud for yourself, you're never going to be proud, you know,
bro. Exactly. And look, there's one thing I say is, there's no set way to do this. There's no this route. This is how you get here. This is the right way. No, it's not. there's no right way to do anything in this game. Your journey is your journey, and your path is going to lead you to where you want to be. And everyone's journey is different. It could take someone 10 years, could take you 3 years, and everyone's path is just different, man. And then I got the call up, like, and I wish and hope loads of Irish fighters do. But for people to say I'm not doing it the right way, or I got lucky, or this and that, like, they called me. Do you know what I mean?
Well,
And
like
I put
said,
so much work for it, you know. I'm doing this since I'm 10. People don't realize that I'm doing MMA 3 years, but I have years of experience of winning gold medals for my country year after year after year after year after year. That pressure, that you know, to perform, to win that medal for my country. So it's just another fight for me. What do they say? Same shit, different toilet.
But you know, you're 100% right. No two journeys are the same. You know what I mean? You know, we've seen it before. People with very little experience go the whole way to the top. Like, even look at someone like Cody Garbrandt when he first got into the UFC. You know what I mean? People are like, nah, he's pushed too far. Like, he was unranked 1 year. He was world champion at the end of the year.
Well, he got in with a small record, didn't he?
Yeah, he did. Yeah, I think it was something like 4-0 or something like that.
Wonderboy was 4-0, and he got the
yeah.
call. And he even said I talked to him a lot on Instagram, and he was, because I'd love to get him the same card as him, but he was saying he got the call up, and he was like, oh, fuck, am I ready? Like, and he was like, the UFC called, will I take it or not? And he was like, this is not going to happen again. Like, imagine I said no, and then I go out, right? So say for example, right, I'm 28. Say for example, I said no. I went, no, do you know what? I'd rather go fight for €1,000 on a smaller show. Thanks very much. But imagine I said that, and then I go out and, touch wood, something bad just happens, and I mess it up and I lose. There's my
you pull the hammy running up the steps.
Yeah, exactly, bro. Or I throw something and bleed and pop me back out, or just something, right? Say something bad happened and I lost that fight. Yeah. I would now be 3-2. There goes my chances of UFC. Let's be real. I got in because of the way I finished my last opponent, and that's just the way it is. Like, yeah,
then like obviously you got that knockout, that one viral. Shout out to Andy Simpson as well. He had you on the show last week, and he's promoting Irish fighters like there's nothing else. He's doing great work.
Great.
Yeah, but then like obviously you got now I don't know how connected it is to the UAE and the Fight Island, but like I'd say the visas are roughly the same, so they're probably like, right, this guy's ideal to get on Fight Island. And like if myself and Ross were knocking heads, we'd probably say a great show to get you on is the Conor McGregor card versus Dustin Poirier.
Yeah, I don't know. Now, to be honest with you, like, Jesus, that'd be an absolute dream. Do you know what I mean? But I don't know. Like,
that has to be the card they put you on, Dean. Has to be the card.
I think that's his night. You know, like that's his return. That's his night, and I'll have my own card. I'll have my own show to be on. Like, and like obviously I can't really talk about that right now, but
yeah,
it'll be released.
Well, like for us as fans, like that would be unreal, you know.
Well, put it this way: if I'm putting on my bald Dana White hat, right,
this is where you should have been wearing the t-shirt, Ross.
Yeah, I know. But if I was putting my bald Dana White hat, I go, right, we were after signing this young Irish fella. He looks like he has all the makings of a star. He's a beautiful striker, knockout artist, good looking. I'd be like, no way. I'd actually put you and Reece McKee both on the Conor card. You know what I mean? Because like the last time Ireland had an invasion, it was like the Irish were all on the one card and they all fed off it and they buzzed off it and they all won. You know what I mean? So I think that's the way I do it.
I think. Obviously, man, I would absolutely love that. I love Reece McKee. I think he's an amazing fighter. I met him in Choice there. He was over there for training before. He helped me a lot as well. He's
a great lad. He's a great lad.
Lovely fella, very humble in victory and defeat. So I have a lot of praise for him. But regarding see the Conor situation now, I personally think Conor is just way too big for an Irish card. He's too big. So I think.
No. Well, what you mean by that? What to have?
I think he's too much of a superstar. Like Conor needs to be in like Vegas, or if he's.
But like that, the Conor versus Poirier 2 is on the 27th.
January
23rd,
23rd of January.
23rd of January on.
Oh, Dean knows the date. I wonder why.
Dean on Fight Island. That's on Fight Island, not here in Dublin.
No. I just meant it, like you never know what could happen. Me and Reece could bring the UFC back to Ireland.
Yeah, that's definitely another thing. But to really welcome you into the UFC, I think that'd be a great move from the lads, and they tend to do make great moves with the UFC. You know, that's why they're number one.
That would be a dream. All right.
And Dino, can I ask you, because sometimes fighters, you see them and they drop down a weight or they go up a weight, or like when they're signed, UFC actually ask them fight a different weight class. Are you going to stay at your weight class, or what's the story there?
I'm going to fight at featherweight, so I'm going down to 145 because I to be honest with you, I walk around with like 16% body fat, man. Like even when I even watch my fights, like I'm never ripped or anything. Like I have.
Same, man.
Yeah, me too. I have to.
Yeah.
I want to join
It's called the dad bod, man. It's called the dad bod.
Bod. Used to be in the flyweight division if you get your diet under control. But he said I got my body measured properly, like in the ISI with a guy called Owen, and like I should be naturally walking around at 73 kilos, but I walk around about 78 because I train a lot, but I kind of eat what I want really. But if I really do it strictly and I do the new conditioning program, I'll get to 73 kilo walking around before me camp, and then I'll cut, and then I'll make the weight, because I do cut about 8 kilo from Monday to Thursday, which is like 16 pounds, 17 pounds or something.
Then, like, if you're looking at it now, right? Obviously, you're going to the featherweight division,
and
like,
champ.
And then, like, obviously, you want to be like, is there a month you're looking like you're like, I want to fight that month for the UFC to make your debut? Is there a month you're sort of ideally you'd like to fight on? Like, obviously, you don't want to wait till next summer, you know.
Yeah, I don't know.
You'd like to fight early, then, okay?
Yeah. I'd like to fight early, and then. So what's the plan is? I'm gonna fight, and then I'm gonna get my body ready and do a proper cut to 145, and then have my debut in featherweight. Then, like from my second fight.
And then what are you sort of looking at the featherweight division in the UFC? Because like if you look at what happened to Reese took a short notice fight against somebody he didn't have a clue who it was. I know obviously his Graham Boland set that up, but like if you saw the video, he just accepted it didn't matter who he was fighting. Now he turned out he fought like probably one of the biggest monsters in the UFC. Like that, I remember the week before I told Ross, I go, this guy Kazmat Chimaev is a monster. He looks exactly like Khabib, fights like Khabib, except he's bigger. And then the next week I find out Reese is fighting Kazmat, and I was like, oh my god, like disaster, right?
But that just shows Reese, shows how much of a bad man he is.
Oh man, he's a warrior.
The thing is now, like you obviously have plenty of notice before your fight, so you'll know who exactly you're fighting. You don't have to go straight to Yazan on this weekend, you know.
I know who I'm fighting and everything, yeah.
Yeah, so like you're like what do you sort of need to do? What foundations do you need to do up until that fight to just bring out the best Dean Barry on that night?
The good thing is I'm already kind of on the way already. I've been.
Sorry, Dean. I don't mean to interrupt, but you say this first fight's going to be lightweight, and the next fight's going to be featherweight.
Basically, yeah.
Yeah. Okay.
So
I was just double checking.
Yeah, I was offered. My manager offered me the guy that they asked me to fight, and I said, yeah. I was like, yeah, deadly. And he was like, do you know who he is? And I was like, no. And he's like, do you care? And I was like, no. But then obviously I looked at it and all, I'm very happy with it. But yeah, I got like people are like always been signed to be fed to the dogs and stuff like that. No, I knew 4 days after my last fight that I was signed to the UFC, that I was signing with them. So I knew at the end of September that I was signing, and had the big phone call with my manager, big well done, congratulations. I had to wait on the contract, and then just weeks went by because of COVID restrictions and everything. There was a lot of shit happening with American visas and stuff like that. So they were backlogged a bit. They were waiting on contracts for a lot of people. And then I had already told, like, you know, me and Owen kind of celebrated with the team and told people and all. And then, you know, word of mouth, nobody hold their piss and they tell everybody. But then, you know what?
It's big news, man. It's big news.
Yeah. And then, but to me, yeah, it was great news. But it was just not just another day for me. But I still go about my life the exact same as I always have. Like,
yeah, because it hasn't happened yet. Like,
yeah, and people, even when it does happen, I'm just gonna be me, you know. But everyone was messaging me, you're going to the UFC. People putting up shit about me on their stories, trying to be funny and all. This guy telling people he's going to the UFC, you know. And I'm like really? I only told a couple of people. There was people chatting shit and all. They kind of insulted me and stuff.
Wasn't George St. Pierre, was it?
No, please. No, but it wasn't. No, but there was just people, and like I see there was certain Irish people are saying stuff, but I see everything. Right, you'd be mad not to read things. Like, you're always going to read stuff, and people will tag you in it and stuff. I read them all, but I'll never retaliate. But I'll always remember. I'll never forget what you said about me, but I'll never, you know, get into that, because some people want you to. They want debate. They want to talk shit, but I'm just focused on myself, man, and wish everyone the best. Hope they all do well in their careers as well. But do you think when I'm walking down walking into the UFC octagon, I'm thinking, oh, but he said I'm
Yeah.
this.
Do you remember Larry from Finsborough said I'd never make it?
Yeah, said I'm a dope or something. Like, I'm not going to give a shit, man. Like, I'm a father now. I'm after getting my dream career. I showed people there's not just one way to do this. I showed people a quick route to it. And I'm not saying, oh, I showed people how to do it, but I'm saying I went in. If you watch my interviews, even from 2017, I haven't changed a single bit. I haven't done anything different. I've just been myself, and I've just let me fight and speak volumes for me. Like, I like to try and create good fights, and I think it's just different, really, you know.
Yeah, but in fairness, you don't have to worry about Larry from Finsborough when you have like Max Holloway sliding into your DM saying, you know, congratulations.
He actually did and all, yeah.
Yeah, no, that's what I noticed. That I was like, Dean Barry's got some famous mates, Basbo. That's what I was saying to him.
Because Max, how I met Max, he came out to. I was fighting at the UFC Convention Center. I was fighting it was International Fight Week, I think, and I was fighting in the Las Vegas Open for kickboxing. And him and Sergio Pettis were both watching me on my mat the same time, and they watched like 3 of my fights. And they came up to me, and Max was like, "Yo, I like that spinning shit and all." And then he was like, "I like to do that myself and all." He's like, "I watch it on YouTube and all." And then Sergio came from a similar background. He was chatting to me about it, and then I was telling them back then, this was 2017, and I was like, my goal is to transition to MMA. Like, I hope to get there, blah, blah, blah. And then they followed me on the Instagram and stuff. And then it's crazy to think, like, now I did it, but then now I got to the same organization as Max, and he's one of my favorite fighters. And
he's in your division.
He's in my division, yeah.
Yeah. I gave him a tour around Jemison, and me and Max were mates too. So.
Oh, did you? Around Jemison? Oh, yeah, but come here, tell me something. What was the crack with that? Because I remember he came over for like a day, and I was like, "Oh, they're setting up a big fight with him and Connor." Like, because you instantly think that, like,
yeah. Jeez, no, you're asking me to spill the beans, Dana. You're asking me to spill. No, you know what? He was over here for a friend's wedding, and his manager Chris actually brought him in and brought him to the Jemison City. But like, nothing was planned. He was actually just having a day out in Dublin. Like, he paid for his tickets and everything. Like. And that was it. Like, there was no messing. He just booked in. That's what he did. And then like he got there, and then I was like, right, arrange a bottle of whiskey with his name on it from whatever. And then the pictures started to go viral. Me and him were pictured everywhere together all over the internet. I was like, all right, didn't actually mean for that to happen. I was just like live my moment, because like I went up to him on what's called I whispered and I go, be the best, be the best. The best is blessed. And he goes, no fucking way, man. And I was like, yeah. And then I was just chatting away to him about like Mini Blessed. And I was like, and then I asked him, I was like, who's more famous in Hawaii, you or Jason Momoa? You know, Aquaman.
Yeah.
And then he was like, nah, Mini Blessed is the most famous person in the whole of Hawaii.
I'd agree.
Like, legend.
Yeah, legend. Mini Blessed is real famous. But can you imagine, like, I was only thinking that the other day, can you imagine getting to, like, being that person where, like, you can't even go down the street and people know you, and people are like, oh, how are you? Like, I was in town there on Friday, and I got stopped twice. I was out on St. William Street. I was just meeting somebody there, and like, I got stopped twice. And people were like, oh, you're in the UFC now, and all. And it was a real nice feeling. They were like, oh man, like, I can't wait to stay up and watch a fight. And I was like, I'd love to be that man that my whole country goes nuts to watch fighting, and they all celebrate. And I'm like, I'd love to hopefully get there to that stage where people know me and want to watch me and all, you know.
Yeah. Well, like, we're gonna be promoting the shit out of you in the build up to your next fight as well. So like, and then obviously get the win there. Like, you'll blow up here. You know, the people are waiting for another Irish UFC fighter that actually gets the win. You know.
Yeah,
but it's true. Like, I mean, they want to back people. Like, look at the way the rugby's letting the Ireland down, football's letting Ireland down. Like, they need something. Like Katie Taylor, like, who's, well, like, obviously Conor will fall back in January, but like, they're really, really waiting for something to celebrate again, you know.
Please God. And do you know what's so funny? It's just so weird. I was only sitting down with my friend thinking about, like, I sat with my friend, I think it was in 2018, like, and I just remember saying to him, I was like, bro, trust me. I was like, I'm going to be the next man after Conor McGregor. And like, I was like, I'll be that next man. And I used to talk about it all the time, saying, I'm going to be the one to get to the UFC. And so many people used to laugh in my face. Like, and I understand they did because I was so new into MMA. But do you ever get that weird feeling in your body, and you're like, you know, so like, I always had this weird feeling, like, I knew eventually I might come into money, or eventually I'm going to lead myself into this big career so I can like help my family and have a nice life with them and stuff like that. And I used to always think that, and then for it to actually happen to me, like it's so surreal, and it's just like, it's real. Like I believe in like serendipity and all, you know, like if everything's meant to happen at the right time, the way it's meant to happen. So it's just weird. Like,
in fairness to you, Dino, you're actually the first person that can say, first Irish person since Conor McGregor who can say they got into the UFC off their own back, if that makes sense. Like everyone else was like, oh, it's Conor McGregor's teammate, if that makes sense.
Yeah.
And then like even Joe Duffy was like, yeah, the last person to beat Conor McGregor, so we'll get him in as well.
Yeah.
This is like Dean Barry off his own merit.
I just wanted to do it myself. I wanted, like, and trust me, I'm a massive fan of Conor McGregor. Like, I think he's just an unbelievable fighter. Like, and I kind of have a lot of respect to him, admire him as well as a fighter. But I just wanted to do this by myself. I wanted to get to the UFC and say, I didn't use any. I'm not saying people use Conor's name. Like, I'm not using Conor as an example here. I'm saying I wanted for my career to get to the UFC. And not for anyone to say, well, that's why you got there. You got there because of him, or you got there because of this, or you were part of this. I got there because of myself and no one else. I got there because of my coach and my team and my manager and everything. But I did it on my own terms, and I got a multi-fight deal out of it. It wasn't a short notice thing, and so I just feel grateful for that, you know.
Well, people are always going to say that. We obviously had Owen on the show before as well. That was actually one of our favorite interviews we've ever done. But like, obviously we've had like Keane Cowley on the show, Kiefer on the show, and people are just saying, "Oh, you've all them followers through Connor." But at the end of the day, like, if you're, put it this way, if your parents are wealthy and you're born into that family, like, people are like, "Oh, you're just wealthy because of your parents." It's just that's the situation you've put yourself in or been put into, and like everyone has their own route, you know.
Exactly.
So, I mean, you just, as people say, let the haters hate, and then you just have to keep going anyway, no matter what they say about you, you know.
And my route came from my route, like, because if you watch all the guys, like, and I don't know them all, like what their background was. But if you watch all the guys, I came from just my karate background. It's so different. And it's like, name a fighter over here who fights like myself, you know. We have amazing fighters in Ireland, but I'm saying, name someone who has my fighting style. Do you know what I mean? Which is, or even anyone in Europe that's looking to go to the UFC. There's no one that kind of, like, I know if they put me in there, I'm going to be different. I'm not going to be. There could be guys 6, 7, and 0, but it's the same thing. They'll just come in, clinch, grapple, blah, 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 and on the ground. But I'll come in and I'm going to try put on shows for fans, and I want to like keep it up. I want to keep that excitement. I'm coming to knock you out. I get stuck in, and I have that style, and I think that's probably what they liked about me. But again, like, I don't like fucking rambling on about myself. But if you want to ask me why, then that's why I think.
I have sort of 2 questions before we wrap up, Dino. One, have you actually got to ever train with Conor? And number 2, who is your dream fight in the UFC?
I never got to train with Conor. I've never actually met Conor.
Okay.
Did he message you? Did you message you when you saw him at the UFC?
No, he didn't message me now, but obviously he's training, you know, for his phone's probably gone, you know. Because one thing I'll understand is, when I signed with the UFC, I actually got very stressed out. Like, I've never had that before. Like, I was like, anytime I look at my phone, it was like, across the Instagram, 100, 100, 100. And then I'd refresh it, it'd be 100, 100, 100, 100, 100, 100. Like 100 comments, likes, shares, boom, boom, boom. And same on Twitter and all. And it got very overwhelming. There was everyone messaging me, and I felt obliged to text everyone back. And I was getting very edgy over, and I had to kind of detach myself from my phone. I was like,
you're almost better off giving your phone to someone else and asking them to do it for you.
Yeah, man. And you know what? I was trying to be respectful to people and get back to people. And then I was like, fuck, man. I was like, I don't owe this to get back to every single person. But I try to get back to people, like, even if it's a couple of days later. But I can only imagine what his phone's like. So obviously he never seen it. But no, I didn't hear from him. But like, he liked Owen's post and all about me, so he knows. Like, and I'd say he's happy for me. But
I'm sure he is.
One day I'm sure I'll train with Conor, but like, it's never been something I've been dying to do, really. Like, I'm kind of just one of them. I'm happy in my own bubble, like. And
what about the featherweight division? Who would you like to match?
So my dream, right? I want to get into the featherweight division. I want to work my way up, and then my dream would be to fight Yair Rodriguez in like a main event or a co-main event, a 3-5-minute round with Yair, with 2 of our striking. I think would be an animal fight. Obviously, I have a lot of work to get up to Yair, but he is one of my favorite fighters. I love his fighting style. And that's just the most respectful way I'd say I'd love to fight him, because I'm such a fan of him, and one day your idols become your rivals, you know what I mean? So I think stylistically his fighting style and my fighting style could put on like a a crazy fight for the fans. So that's something I'd love to get up to. Yeah, he's a great fighter.
Yeah, I'm feeling Ross has a few names there.
Yeah,
Oh no, it was more. Dana was actually asked about Yair Rodriguez this weekend after the Anthony Smith fight, and like he sort of gave this weird answer and like sort of messed with people that he was a bit of like, what story Yair? It's like he's not fighting, and it's not for. Like, he's not injured or anything like that, so I don't know whether he's got like personal problems at the moment.
that's what I seen that.
Yeah, but I'd love to see you two throw down. But like, I'd love to see you and maybe even Korean Zombie. I think you versus Brian Ortega will be an interesting fight as well because like he loves blocking those face or punches with his face.
If he didn't try to take me down, like loads of fights like Qatar, he's an animal fighter, and these are all people now that I'm naming people who I stay up to watch fight and who I'm just massive fans of, and it'd be an honor to share the cage with them one day, But I have a lot of work to do before I even
see you get 2 or 3 fights and maybe fight a Cub Swanson or something. I think that would be a good scrap.
Yeah, and he's another one. He's a killer Cub. Do you know what? It's so hard. It's so difficult. When people ask me, because I never call anyone out. Like, and I just, if they offer me a fight, I'll say yeah, and I'm just purely for the love of the competition for fighting. But like when I'm thinking of these fighters, and I'm like, oh, who would I like to fight? But then I'm like, oh, they're one of my favorite fighters. And I'm like, what? Do I really like? One day you're gonna share the cage with them, please God. Like, do you know what I mean? So it's mad.
Yeah. Well, here, Dean, like it's been absolutely brilliant having you on the show. I think it's been a long time coming, but we're gonna have to have you on again when, like, obviously with your fights now, it's fight week. Whenever you're free, But thanks a million for coming on. Is there anything you want to say before you bounce? Anything you want to shout out? I hear you're a fan of trendy socks because Ross has been telling me. Is there anything in particular you need to shout out?
My uncle Thomas, that's his sock business. It's called Tom P2 Socks. So THOMP2 Socks, and then he's my uncle. He has special needs, and he set up a sock business. Like he sells fun socks, and he's doing amazing with it. Like people are all getting behind him and supporting him, and he donates a lot of money to charities and stuff with it, and it's a great cause. So, and he has like the same amount of followers as me on Instagram. Like he's crazy. But
the face of the sock game.
Yeah, he I'm telling you, he's more popular around here than me. I swear to God, everyone knows him. And anytime he's on my story, people text me like, "Oh, I've been waiting to see a post of Thomas and all. How is he?" And there's people buys his socks from Australia, America, England, all over the world, New Zealand, and all. Like,
well, you know what? We'll give him a shout out on the gram, and then also I'll make sure to buy a pair of socks off.
Yeah, I knew you'd be all over that, Ross.
Yeah, please do, because it means a lot to him. Yeah, he has all this new stuff coming in, all the Christmas stuff. So
that's brilliant. Great, yeah. Is that it? Just the socks?
Yeah, that's everything. Yeah,
brilliant. Okay, guys. Ross, anything else to say?
Yeah, fun.
Yeah, so Dean, thanks a million for coming on. Like, we're obviously going to have to do this again soon. If we don't see you again before the end of the new year, have a happy Christmas and have a very, very clean new year. Make sure to check out Dean's work. Make sure to follow him on Instagram because Ireland's next up and coming UFC athlete. Like, I mean, this is going to be brilliant for the country. You can't wait to follow her. Make sure to like, share, subscribe, and as always,
stay energized.
All right, so that was Dean Barry on the show. Ross, our new best mate, man.
Man, absolutely buzzing. Absolute legend. We had a chat with him there off air as well, and just really nice fella, really down there.
Yeah.
We
never mentioned the mustaches. We have to get him on the team for next year.
Oh yeah, we have to get him on Team Mo for next year. We raised €540 this year, so like that's buzzing over that. And then also, I don't even know if I said it on air or off air, but I was like, that was one of my favorite podcasts I've done with a guest in a long time. Just like the open, honest conversation with him was brilliant.
Yeah, he was, but a lot of them are though. But like
there's something special about that. There was something. There was like a feel or something. I feel like to be remember when for us. Remember when we had Dean Barry on the first time.
Man, I'm just disappointed you never say I'm that handsome. But we'll move on anyway. If you are new to the show, make sure to like, share, and subscribe. Also, make sure you do follow Dean because what he just told us off air is you have to follow him ASAP. But I'm also going to put the link down below for November Fund. We've done this the last couple of years. We have a few lads on the team as well.
Alex Waugh.
Alex Shane
Hart. And there's another fella, Kev Crowley. And there's one fella, I can't think of his name, and now I feel bad about it.
Oh, here, okay, yeah, sorry. There's Alex, he raised €210. Gary, €90. Shane, €70. Ross, €20. Kev, €20. It says I have zero here, even though I put money in it. But like, I mean, like, what can we do?
Yeah, well, me and you donated to the team, but not to ourselves. So
Yeah,
that's why that happened.
Yeah, but €540, that's pretty impressive. What you make of the Mo?
I actually quite like mine now. Obviously, like it's going to be Mexican for me if you're watching it on YouTube because I've let the stubbly bit grow. But I actually quite like the mustache, to be honest.
Yeah, I think I'm going to keep it for the rest of the week and then see what happens. But like, we'll end up looking like our dads, like.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, but yeah, Jesus.
So
man, I love doing. Do you know? I actually love doing the show. Like, I actually love doing.
It's unreal.
Yeah, and like I'd highly recommend anyone to like start doing something they love because like when we first started doing MMA, I didn't really know that much about it. Like I wasn't like I watched a bit of it, but I wouldn't be able to give like my honest opinion. Then if fast forward a few years later, I'm absolutely balls deep into doing MMA shows with UFC fighters on. So you never know where you can go in this game. Ross, speaking of UFC, it was on over the weekend. It was an absolute mess of a card. The day before, Curtis Blades got COVID. Anthony Smith moved up to fight Clark. Anthony Smith got the win. Is there anything to really go over from last weekend's card before we go into this weekend's card?
No, I was happy to see Anthony Smith back in the win column. I felt bad for Devin Clark. His stepmother died like the week of the fight, I think. And Anthony Smith sort of gave actually a bit of a sad story of when he went to Brazil to fight that his like best friend died the day before he left. And he's like, it's sometimes hard to like get up and go. So like people are faced with hard decisions all the time, and Anthony Smith went on a bit of a run of bad luck, but good to see him back in there. I'd like to see him fight Paul Craig next. I think that's a good fight.
It was actually a crazy week last week. Like Maradona died as well. Just absolute madness. But yeah, Ross, right, we'll just take a quick
madness. Tell us about Roy Jones Jr. and Mike.
Oh, we're going to go over that? Okay. Yeah, obviously. Right, so we talked about it last week on the show. Mike Tyson was fighting Roy Jones Jr. Now, the whole week, it took a bit of showing off the fight or the event itself, just being like, is there refs? Is there no refs? There's two belts. Is there, like, what's actually going on here? There's rules. There's no rules. At the end of the day, the production itself I wasn't overly happy with. Like, I mean, they kept putting out, like, I listened to the two lads on weighing in. By the way, we are getting Josh Thompson and Big John McCarthy on a show together next year to talk about what exactly fight fans should look forward to in 2021, which is going to be unreal. Ross, that probably just broke down news to you as well. But
I can see the DMs too, bro.
You're too nosy, bro. But but like in between the fights, they started having like French Montana singing and stuff. And I was watching the boxing with Joe Joyce and Dubois, and I was like, here, like what's going on here, lads? But what you make of it overall? Like it was for a great cause. They raised loads of money for a charity. Mike Tyson looks like he's been vegan for the last 2 years. It goes to show that like I think these days just because you're 50 doesn't mean you're like 100. You know what I mean? You're still alive. You're still getting up out of bed. Keep doing fitness. Like you should never stop on your mental health and physical health.
You know, I was sort of against like an old man fight league for a while, but like after seeing Tyson get in there and like show his dedication to it, I don't think Roy Jones was as dedicated. I think he was like, I retired 3 years ago, so like I should be grand. Yeah. And Mike Tyson trained for 2 years like an animal. I thought Tyson won the fight quite clearly. I know there wasn't actually a winner, but when you watch a fight, you're judging it in your own head one way or the other. Yeah. I thought Tyson won. I thought he made a good showing of himself. He sort of said that he might fight Evander Holyfield next, and Evander Holyfield should have been in that fight. I think Evander Holyfield's like struggling massively financially. He was like, if he actually saw the numbers of money that we made in that fight, like Tyson's like, you can happily have some of the money. You know what I mean? He's like, don't really care. So I think that would be a fight to watch. Roy Jones Jr., I have no real interest in seeing him fight again. Yeah, there was always talk of him fighting Anderson Silva. I'm not really for it.
It's they saw the Tyson sold this card.
Oh, 100%.
Yeah. And funny enough, Jake fucking Paul, bro. What you make of that?
Jake Paul, I'm finally a believer. You know what I mean? Like a lot of people want to like compare him to these like top of the range professional boxers. Like, you know what I mean? He's never going to be Canelo.
No, he's never going to be a world champ. Let's get that out there, just in case people thought. And he's calling out Dylan Dennis. He's calling out Conor McGregor. He's calling out KSI. He's calling out Ben Askren. There's something that this is what's the world of combat is changing. Like look at the way Dean had a bit of a reputation and a bit of a following, and now all of a sudden he's called up to the UFC. Jake Paul is doing it his own way. He's getting huge audiences and interested. It's making people talk about it. We're talking about it. The whole world's talking about it.
I was in the chipper getting a bag of chips the other night. Now, I didn't tell you that. But
any dip?
Yeah, taco sauce, man. Delish. And there was 12 kids outside, and all they were talking about was Jake Paul. And it was Friday night. It was the night before the fight. Because I remember I got a bag of chips from late toy shop. P.S. Don't tell Chris. But yeah, he transcends a sport. He brings a whole lot of new eyes. Probably gets young people interested in boxing, which is a good thing. And you know what? He's pretty damn good. I'll give him credit where credit's due. He's really taken to the sport of boxing.
Yeah. Now let's not get things twisted. Nate. Yeah, but let's not get things twisted. Nate Robinson was like basically trying to rugby, American football tackle him, put it that way. But
no, I'm not saying Nate Robinson was in any way, but like put it this way, I actually was convinced. I was like, right, well, Nate Robinson was an athlete, and like he's going to win there, and he's going to like surely he can adapt his training methods for basketball to boxing and win. But Jake Paul made a show of him. Like he literally made a show of him. Let's
see where that goes. We don't want to put the show too long, but like I'm sure more Jake Paul stuff is going to come up, and we're going to have to look at it because it's actually quite interesting. The matchups you could get, like the KSIs, that would do huge numbers. Dylan Dennis, that would do huge numbers. He's calling out Conor McGregor. That's obviously never going to happen. But like,
we'll have to ask him on the show, Basmo.
We'll have to get him on the show sometime. Yeah, let's see what happens. But that's the action from last week. But Ross, this weekend the UFC is back. Our good mate Jack Hermansson's on the card. Unfortunately, Kevin Holland got taken off the card, but Vettori is not a bad man to stand up against, and it's a battle to see. It's the battle of the two Europeans, Ross.
Yeah, it is.
Mr. Italy, Mr. Norway, or Mr. Sweden.
Both.
Yeah,
he carries both flags out.
Mr. Scandinavia.
Yeah, Mr. Scandinavia. I do still favour Jack Hermansson for this. I think he's a better grappler. I do think he's a better striker. The only thing I will say about Marvin Vettori, he's very good in the clinch. He's very good up against the cage. And maybe if he can do a Kamaru Usman foot stomp mania, that's what way you get a victory. But obviously, Hermansson's been training for a 5-round fight. He's been in 5-round fights before. I do fancy Hermansson to win, probably by submission if I had to guess.
Yeah, like Jackson, absolutely like beast, and he's been training, as you said, the whole time. So, how can you really go against him?
It's funny because they actually swapped opponents because Marvin Vettori is supposed to fight Jacare Souza at 256, and now Kevin Holland's fighting 256, and Vettori's now fighting the main event.
Yeah, I'm just loading the card up here. Sorry,
he was sparring with Kelvin Gastelum the other day, and they were going hell for leather, and it looks very good.
Yeah, Oven St. Preux is also on the card. He's taking Jamal Hill. Who else here is on the card? Nate Landwehr, he's fighting in the featherweight division against Movsar Evloev. Nate Landwehr is he's a hell for leather fighter, so that's not a bad one to check out. But Ross, Clan Wars is on as well this Sunday. We were talking about it with Dean earlier. There's a lot of like up and coming Irish fighters that are going to be fighting on the card. It's going to be on YouTube on Sunday. I think it costs a tenner. I think each fighter has to sell around 6 pay-per-views, something like that. So like to support your own grassroots and stuff, definitely check it out. Like what else you could be doing on Sunday, because the Dubs play in the All Ireland semi-final on Saturday. I know there's an All Ireland, the other semi-finals on Sunday, but it kicks off around 12 o'clock midday. So I mean that's definitely something to check out. And also on Friday, Ross, Billy Joe Saunders is back in action. He's taken on Martin Murray on Friday night. So, I mean, like, you can watch the boxing Friday night, the MMA on Saturday, and then the MMA on Sunday as well.
Yeah, so it's a packed lineup.
Yeah, also Champions League's back Tuesday, Wednesday, Europa League Thursday as well, or it will be back on Saturday. Like, it's a good week of action. It's a good week of action, but.
Yeah, so guys, I hope you enjoyed the show as much as we did. Make sure to give us a like, share, subscribe, and Baz, as always,
keep the mustache. Keep the mustache.